In a knowledge economy, your attention is not just a resource, it is the primary means of production. Everything you earn, everything you build, everything you contribute originates in sustained cognitive focus. Yet most knowledge workers have systematically destroyed their capacity for it. Consider two professionals, same education, same hours worked, same industry. One earns twice what the other earns. The difference is rarely talent. It is rarely opportunity. The difference is almost always this. One has preserved the ability to think deeply, and the other has not. This is not about productivity in the motivational sense. This is about the economic reality of cognitive work. Your ability to focus determines your ability to create value, and your ability to create value determines your income. The average knowledge worker switches tasks every 3 minutes, not by choice, by design. The modern work environment has been engineered for interruption. Email, Slack, Teams, calendar alerts, text messages, each one a small cognitive detonation. When you shift your attention from task A to task B, your brain does not make a clean transition. A portion of your cognitive capacity, what researchers call attention residue, remains attached to the previous task. You are working on the quarterly analysis, but part of your mind is still processing the email you just read. You are in a meeting, but you are simultaneously constructing a reply to a message. You believe you are multitasking. You are actually experiencing distributed cognitive failure. This is the fragmentation tax. The cost you pay in cognitive capacity for allowing your attention to be subdivided. And it is expensive, not just in time lost, in value destroyed. Consider the nature of valuable work in a knowledge economy. Writing that clarifies complex ideas, analysis that reveals hidden patterns, strategy that anticipates market shifts, code that solves novel problems. This work cannot be done in 3-minute intervals. It requires what Cal Newport termed deep work, sustained, undistracted focus on cognitively demanding tasks. Yet research shows that most knowledge workers spend 60 to 80% of their time on shallow work. Email management, meeting attendance, administrative coordination, status updates. Shallow work is necessary, but it is also replaceable. It produces linear value. More hours equals proportionally more output. Deep work produces non-linear value. The same hours can produce exponentially different outcomes based on focus quality. A programmer working in deep focus can solve in 2 hours what might take 2 days in fragmented attention. An analyst in sustained concentration can identify a pattern that generates millions in value. A strategist with uninterrupted thinking time can see what distracted competitors cannot. The market does not pay for time, it pays for value, and value in cognitive work is a function of focus depth. This creates a brutal economic reality. 2 people working the same hours in the same field create dramatically different value. One operates in sustained focus. The other operates in permanent distraction. Over weeks, the difference is noticeable. Over years, the difference is career-defining. Over decades, the difference is a different economic class entirely. There is another dimension to this problem. Artificial intelligence does not struggle with shallow work. It excels at it. Email sorting, data entry, meeting scheduling, report formatting. These tasks are being automated rapidly. What AI cannot yet replicate is sustained, creative, complex human cognition, the kind that requires deep work. The professional class is dividing. Those who have preserved their capacity for deep focus are building economic moats. Those who have surrendered to distraction are becoming economically vulnerable. This is not philosophical. This is structural. Your ability to focus is your ability to compete. To understand why deep work creates wealth, You must understand how the brain processes complex information. The prefrontal cortex, the brain's executive center, manages working memory, attention control, and complex reasoning. Think of it as your brain's RAM. Limited capacity, easily overloaded, depleted by use. Working memory can hold approximately 7 items simultaneously, plus or minus 2, depending on individual capacity. This is not a metaphor. This is a neurological constraint. Every time you receive an interruption, an email, a message, a notification, you are asking your working memory to load new information. The information you were holding, the problem you were solving, the analysis you were constructing, partially unloads. When you return to the original task, you must reload it. But the reload is incomplete. Some pieces are missing. Some connections are lost. Contrast this with deep work. When you enter sustained focus on a single complex task, your brain activates what neuroscientists call the task-positive network. Blood flow increases to the prefrontal cortex. Neurotransmitters optimize for sustained attention. The default mode network, responsible for mind wandering, deactivates. This is the neurological state required for complex cognition. It does not emerge instantly. It requires approximately 15 to 20 minutes of uninterrupted focus to fully activate, which means every interruption does not cost you the 30 seconds it takes to read an email. It costs you the 20 minutes required to return to peak cognitive state. This is why just 5 minutes on Slack destroys hours of productive capacity. You are not losing 5 minutes. You are resetting your cognitive state to 0. There is a deeper state beyond focused attention. Psychologists call it flow, a state of complete immersion where time perception alters, self-consciousness disappears, and performance peaks. In flow, the brain releases norepinephrine, dopamine, anandamide, endorphins, and serotonin. This neurochemical cocktail does 3 things. First, it locks attention onto the task. Distractions become neurologically invisible. Second, it accelerates pattern recognition. Your brain processes information faster and makes connections it would normally miss. Third, it enhances creative problem solving. Novel solutions emerge that would not appear in normal cognitive states. This is not mystical. This is optimized brain function, and it is only accessible through sustained, uninterrupted focus. Now consider the economic translation. If flow states increase cognitive performance by 200 to 500%, and research suggests they do, then access to flow is access to exponential value creation. A knowledge worker who can enter flow regularly produces dramatically more value per hour than one who cannot. Not marginally more, multiples more. And because flow state cognition is increasingly rare in a distraction-saturated world, the market places a premium on it. Scarcity creates value. Deep focus is becoming scarce. Therefore, deep focus is becoming valuable. There is a common misconception about high performers. People assume they are simply more intelligent. Often, they are not. Intelligence, past a certain threshold, matters less than you think. What separates top performers is not IQ. It is attention allocation. A moderately intelligent person with sustained focus will outperform a highly intelligent person with fragmented attention. Consistently, because deep work compounds. Each hour of deep focus builds skill. Skill builds reputation. Reputation builds opportunity. Opportunity builds income. Over 1 week, the difference is small. Over 1 year, the difference is significant. Over 10 years, the difference is a different life. Meanwhile, distraction compounds in the opposite direction. Each interruption weakens focus capacity. Weakened focus reduces skill growth. Reduced skill growth limits opportunity. Limited opportunity constrains income. The gap does not stay constant, it widens, and it accelerates. This is the hidden mechanism of wealth creation in knowledge work. Not effort, not time, not even talent. Sustained cognitive focus on high-value problems. Understanding the problem is insufficient. You need a system. The deep work architecture consists of 5 components. Each addresses a specific failure point in modern knowledge work. Implemented together, they reconstruct your capacity for sustained focus. Step 1. Cognitive inventory. You cannot optimize what you do not measure. Most knowledge workers have no accurate sense of how they spend their cognitive capacity. Begin by auditing 1 full week. Track every task. Categorize each as deep work or shallow work. Shallow work: email, meetings, administrative coordination, status updates, anything that could be done while distracted. Deep work: writing, analysis, strategy, design, programming, any task requiring sustained focus and producing non-linear value. Most knowledge workers discover they spend less than 20% of their time on deep work. Some spend less than 10%. Next, identify your high-leverage deep work domains. What cognitive work, if done with complete focus, would create the most value? Not what is urgent, not what others demand. What actually moves outcomes? Apply this filter. If I outsource this task to someone earning $15 per hour, would quality suffer meaningfully? If the answer is no, it is shallow work. If the answer is yes, it requires deep work. Your goal is not to eliminate shallow work entirely. That is impossible. Your goal is to contain it, compress it, and protect time for deep work. Step 2. Environmental architecture. Willpower is a finite resource. If your environment requires constant willpower to maintain focus, you will fail. Deep work requires environmental support, a physical space structured for sustained attention. Remove digital access to distraction during deep work blocks. Not try to avoid it. Remove access. Log out of email. Disable Slack. Turn off notifications. Put your phone in another room. The laboratory model is instructive. When conducting a sensitive experiment, scientists eliminate variables. They control temperature, light, vibration, contamination. Deep work is a cognitive experiment. Control the variables. Temporal boundaries matter as much as physical ones. Establish fixed rituals for deep work. Same time, same place, same entry routine. This signals your brain, we are entering deep work mode now. The consistency reduces cognitive overhead. You are not deciding whether to focus. You are executing a system. Pre-commitment devices are critical. Make distraction structurally difficult, not just mentally resisted. If you work in an open office, this is harder. Not impossible, but harder. Noise-canceling headphones, visual signals to colleagues, booked conference rooms, early mornings, late evenings. Find the structural supports your environment allows. Step 3. Temporal structuring. Time is not neutral. Some hours are cognitively superior to others. Most people experience peak cognitive capacity within the first 4 hours after waking. This is when your prefrontal cortex is freshest. This is when willpower is highest. This is when deep work should happen. Schedule your most important cognitive work during your peak hours. Protect those hours religiously. Research on ultradian rhythms shows the brain operates in 90-minute cycles, approximately 90 minutes of focus, followed by a need for rest. This means your minimum viable deep work block is 90 minutes. Less than that, and you barely reach peak cognitive state before stopping. The realistic daily maximum for most people is 4 hours of deep work, not 4 hours of trying to work. 4 hours of actual, sustained, cognitively demanding focus. Shallow work should be batched. Process email twice daily, not continuously. Attend meetings in compressed blocks, not scattered throughout the day. Return calls in a single window. The goal is to create a protected core of deep work time, surrounded by a compressed perimeter of shallow work. Step 4. Cognitive preparation. Deep work does not begin the moment you sit down. It requires preparation. Your brain needs a signal that deep work is beginning. A pre-work ritual accomplishes this. It can be simple: a specific tea, a specific music track, a specific location, a specific opening statement you write. The content matters less than the consistency. Equally important is the shutdown ritual. When you finish deep work, close it completely. Write down where you stopped. Note what you will address next. Then disconnect. Do not carry cognitive residue from one deep work session into the next day. This pollutes your working memory. The warm-up period matters. When you begin a deep work session, give yourself 10 to 15 minutes to load the problem into working memory. Review notes, reread recent work, reconstruct your mental model. Decision fatigue is real. If you begin deep work already cognitively depleted by trivial decisions, your capacity is compromised. Automate or eliminate decisions before deep work. Wear the same clothes, eat the same breakfast, follow the same routine. This preserves cognitive capacity for what matters. Build a transition buffer. 15 minutes between shallow work and deep work. Walk. Sit in silence. Breathe deliberately. You are shifting mental states. From reactive to proactive. From fragmented to unified. From shallow to deep. Respect the transition. Step 5. Output measurement. What gets measured gets managed. Track your deep work hours, not the hours you spend at your desk, the hours you spend in actual sustained focus. A realistic starting point for most people is 10 to 15 hours per week. If you can consistently achieve 20 hours per week, you are in the top tier of knowledge workers. But hours alone are incomplete. Measure output quality. What did those deep work hours produce? Leading indicators: deep work consistency, distraction resistance, focus session completion. Lagging indicators: projects finished, income earned, promotions received, skills mastered. The system improves through feedback. Notice which deep work conditions produce the best results. Time of day, environment, task type, energy level. Then iterate, adjust the system, test new structures, eliminate what does not work. Over months, you will see patterns. Certain types of deep work generate disproportionate value. Certain conditions produce disproportionate focus. Double down on those. This is not theory. This is engineering. You are building a cognitive system optimized for value creation. Consider a management consultant. Her value is not in the hours she bills. Her value is in the insights she delivers. Before implementing deep work, her days are reactive. Client emails, internal meetings, status updates, proposal revisions. She works 60 hours per week. She feels busy. But her actual analytical thinking, the work that justifies her rate, happens in fragments. After restructuring, mornings are protected for deep analytical work. Client communication batched to afternoons. Internal meetings compressed to 2 days per week. Within 3 months, the quality of her deliverables increases visibly. Clients notice. Partners notice. Her utilization rate drops. She works 45 hours instead of 60. Her income increases because she is delivering more value in less time. Consider a software engineer. His value is not in lines of code written. His value is in problems solved elegantly. Before, Constant context switching between coding, communication, and meetings. Code quality suffers. Bugs increase. Projects take longer than estimated. After 4-hour morning blocks for deep coding work. No interruptions, no meetings. Afternoons reserved for collaboration, code review, communication. Within 6 months, his output quality transforms. Fewer bugs, more elegant solutions, faster delivery. He becomes the engineer everyone wants on their team, not because he works more hours, because he produces more value per hour. Consider an executive facing a critical strategic decision. Expand into a new market or double down on the existing one. If this decision is made in fragments, between meetings, during email checks, in rushed conversations, the analysis will be shallow. Surface-level risks will be considered. Deeper implications will be missed. If this decision receives sustained deep work, 4 hours of uninterrupted strategic analysis, the quality changes entirely. Second-order effects become visible. Hidden risks emerge. Non-obvious opportunities appear. The executive making decisions in deep work operates at a different cognitive level than the executive making decisions in distraction. Over time, this gap creates dramatically different outcomes, not because of intelligence, because of cognitive architecture. The long-term financial impact is not subtle. A knowledge worker who masters deep work does not earn 10% more than one who does not. Over a career, they often earn 2 to 5 times more, because deep work accelerates skill acquisition. Skills create market value. Market value creates income. Income creates wealth. And there is a compounding effect beyond income. Consistently high-quality work builds reputation. Reputation attracts better opportunities. Better opportunities provide access to higher value problems. Higher value problems offer greater compensation. Meanwhile, most knowledge workers are trapped in a cycle of shallow work and distraction. Their skills stagnate. Their value plateaus. Their income flattens. The gap widens, not because of talent, because of attention allocation. The Stoics understood something essential about human capability. You do not control outcomes. You do not control markets, opportunities, or luck. You control only one thing with complete authority: your own attention. Where you direct it, how long you sustain it, what you allow to fragment it. This makes focus a practice in self-governance. Every time you resist distraction, you are exercising control over the one domain you truly command. Every time you enter deep work, you are choosing voluntary difficulty over reactive ease. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The modern equivalent: you have power over your attention, not market conditions, not organizational chaos, not the behavior of others. Realize this, and you will find economic advantage. Deep work is not a productivity optimization. It is a life design choice. A career built on deep work looks different from a career built on distraction. More autonomy, more mastery, more respect, more income. A career built on distraction leads to stagnation. Shallow work is easily automated, easily outsourced, easily replaced. Consider the mathematics of compounding over 20 years. If deep work improves your effective output by 30% annually, and that improvement compounds through skill growth, reputation building, and opportunity access, you are not 30% ahead after 20 years. You are in a different category entirely. The difference between a knowledge worker who masters focus and one who does not is not incremental. It is the difference between building something meaningful and regretting time wasted. Time does not return. Attention spent in distraction is gone. You cannot reclaim it. You cannot buy it back. But every moment forward is yours to direct. You can begin now, not with motivation, not with inspiration, with structure. The work that matters, the work that creates value, that builds wealth, that compounds over decades, is waiting. It requires only one thing from you: your sustained, undistracted attention. Wealth is not created in moments of inspiration. It is created in hours of sustained, difficult thinking that most people are unwilling to endure. The question is not whether deep work creates wealth. The evidence is clear. The question is whether you will build the capacity for it. The next video examines a paradox that traps high IQ professionals. Why smart people can't focus. If this analysis clarified how you think about focus and value creation, consider subscribing to the Mind Observatory.